Elizaveta Krivonogikh, alleged daughter of Russian President Vladimir Putin, publicly spoke about a man who destroyed her and took millions of lives. She didn't name anyone, but media reports say she was apparently referring to the Kremlin leader. German newspaper Bild obtained a series of posts on Telegram by the 22-year-old as she wrote, "It's liberating to be able to show my face to the world again. It reminds me of who I am and who destroyed my life." Krivonogikh didn't explicitly name Putin in either post, but has also never shot down the popular theory surrounding her true parentage. The budding artist was born in 2003 after a suspected affair between Putin and her mother, Svetlana, the president's then-housekeeper. The bombshell was first revealed after a 2020 investigation by Russian media outlet Proekt, citing her phenomenal resemblance to Putin. He isn't listed on her birth certificate, but Vladimirovna was included, translating to daughter of Vladimir. In 2021, slain journalist and Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny exposed Krivonogik's Instagram, which highlighted her life of luxury and her family's staggering wealth that many have attributed to their connection with the disgraced Russian president. Even without official confirmation, Elizaveta's vocal of Putin's actions has placed her in a precarious and symbol position, representing internal dissent within Russia's elite. While Krivonogikh originally celebrated life in the spotlight, she retreated after Russia invaded Ukraine in 2021 and her Instagram was suddenly shut down. She's since returned, but was more reserved at first, hiding her face in many photos. She's now seemingly changed her tune, and swapped sides on the devastating war after previously mourning her inability to make an extra lap around my beloved St. Petersburg. Krivonogikh has since denounced her previous Gucci-encrusted lifestyle of obscene wealth and speaks openly against her supposed father's massacre in Ukraine while working in a Parisian art gallery specializing in anti-war works. While she has been outspoken in her condemnation of the war in Ukraine, some critics question her authenticity and argue she should not be in positions where she may interact with Ukrainians. In response, Krivonogikh wrote, "Am I really responsible for the activities of my family, who can't even hear me?" In earlier posts, she reflected on her former lifestyle, expressing disillusionment with the wealth and notoriety that came from her family connections. Her public statements now reflect a shift toward advocacy and personal independence. Putin is also reportedly the father of 2 additional children, sons aged 10 and 6, with former Olympic gymnast Alina Kabayeva, though no official confirmation has been provided.
Against the backdrop of the catastrophic water situation in the occupied part of Donbass, the Kremlin decided to hold a show meeting between Putin and the head of the Russian occupation administration of Donbass, Pushilin. A fragment of the video even appeared on the internet and became the object of ridicule on social networks. The noticeably aged dictator and his frightened subordinate looked comical. Journalists emphasized that Putin, for the first time in a long time, publicly met with Denis Pushilin, the man whom Russia calls the leader of the DPR. The situation with water supply is getting worse every day, which forced the Russian authorities to hold a show action that Putin knows about the problem and is dealing with it. According to Pushilin himself, in Donetsk and Makeyevka, water is supplied once every 3 days, for several hours. In Mariupol, once every 2, in Yenakievo, once every 4. Water losses in the networks, in some places, reach 60%. He admitted that up to 100 breakdowns are eliminated daily, and during peak periods, the number of breaks reached 2,000 per week. Pushilin also said that Ukraine had allegedly not repaired its network for decades. In fact, the region's water supply system was disrupted by shelling during the Russian military offensive in 2022. Bellingcat wrote, "Moscow blamed Ukraine for the problems." In the video from the meeting, Pushilin looks scared, thin and nervous. His speech is incoherent. He often repeats himself. You can see how he tries to please Putin and not say anything unnecessary. Fear is clearly visible in his eyes. Pushilin came to report on the burst pipes, but he looked like he was about to start a leak himself. Social media users joke, Putin looks older and tired. In a few months, he will be 73, and this is noticeable to the naked eye. Slow reaction, heavy look, indifference to the words of the interlocutor. The disdain for Pushilin on the part of the head of the Kremlin is almost undisguised. Let us recall that Pushilin is a fraudster from the 90s, famous for distributing the MMM pyramid in Donetsk. The whole scene is a symbol of the failure of the occupation policy. Donbass, captured under the slogans of salvation from Kiev, today lives in conditions worse than in the 90s. There is no water. The networks are rotting. The supply schedules are like in a blockaded city. Pushilin admits, repairs have been carried out for decades. The system has fallen apart. But of course, the legacy of Ukraine is to blame, and not 11 years of occupation and Russian devastation. Observers comment on the video.
F-16 fighters of the Ukrainian armed forces carried out a pinpoint strike on Russian troops on the southern front using high-precision JDAM air bombs. The attack was aimed at 3 key occupier facilities. The second and third airstrikes hit the settlement of Plavny. In this area, 2 objects were destroyed at once, an enemy forward command post and a concentration of assault units, which, according to Ukrainian intelligence, were preparing for an offensive. The strikes were extremely precise. The targets were hit with the support of a reconnaissance drone, which provided aerial corrections and transmitted the target coordinates in real time. The published video shows precise hits and powerful explosions, confirming the destruction of enemy targets. The military emphasizes that the use of JDAM makes it possible to hit targets at a significant distance without entering the enemy air defense zone. This makes the F-16s especially effective in areas where Russia is actively building up its forces, such as in the Zaporizhia region. Furthermore, Ukrainian armed forces carried out pinpoint strikes on critically important Russian military facilities in the occupied part of the Zaporizhia region. The strikes hit important Russian facilities in the occupied part of the Zaporizhia region and in the Krasnodar region of the Russian Federation. The Ukrainian army struck an enemy S-300 anti-aircraft missile system in the occupied part of the Zaporizhia region. The strike was carried out by some long-range fire weapons and was accurate and effective. The enemy installation was destroyed. According to the Ukrainian side, the elimination of this target significantly weakened the ability of Russian troops to fire at long distances, and also limited their ability to attack Ukrainian positions and civilian infrastructure in the region. The defense forces continue to systematically destroy key elements of Russia's military potential, which reduces its ability to conduct military operations, hold captured territories, and maintain the occupation, the General Staff emphasizes.